So to be less than 25 years old making 80 grand a year, I mean, to my friends, I was like P. Diddy. They was like,
nah, for sure.
They would call me J. Diddy. Because at the time, I said, hey, I still have my hair. I know I don't want to be Diddy right now. But I don't remember watching any TV at all for like 6 years. I've seen people who say they're passionate about what they do, but their actions don't show it.
Come on.
Because if someone's truly passionate about, they're gonna do any and everything they can to be successful at that business.
Mm-hmm.
I felt this one deep in my soul, deep beneath the surface, serpent peeking through some holes. Shot me with a gram of dopamine to make me slow. What type you ask?
What is up, family? It is your boy Dwayne Kyles, and I am here today with one of the most dangerous men on the Southeast, a man who could literally kill me in seconds, who is a master at his craft. I'm a man who is a business owner, a man who is a guy who serves his community, gives back to his community, and a handsome bald-headed man. You know what I'm saying? He has a hat on right now.
Yes, sir.
Can't see his head, but he is an amazing. Oh yeah, okay. He's going.
I used to have the waves, man. But at the age of 26, God had other plans for my scalp, so now I have to embrace the baldy.
Yeah. Let's clap it up in the chat for the confidence. But man, none other than the man himself, Jerome Robinson.
Appreciate you, brother.
It's an honor to have you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Doing good, brother. Doing good,
Yeah.
man. I saw, actually, before you asked me about getting on the podcast, I saw one you did the other day. I think you were with a coach.
Joshua Staley.
Okay, where's he coach at?
So he's actually at Ridgeview, number 7 team in the country right now. So.
Okay, yeah, that was. I didn't get the chance to watch the whole thing, but on Instagram I just saw the clips, and I just said, man, I could tell from the camera angles going back and forth, and then the quality. I said, yeah, that looks like a good podcast. So when you hit me up,
For sure.
I was already checking it out. So when you hit me up, I said, yeah, Friday's good for me, so let's get it.
For sure. Long overdue. I don't even know if I told you this, but I've been watching you for a while.
Okay.
And, you know, even when you took a chance on me and we did the video,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? And for you to even do that and for what you're doing in the community and, you know what I'm saying, how, you know, aesthetically, you are the role model that a lot of young people would aspire to be because tall, muscular, you know what I'm saying? Like, good head on your shoulders, business owner, nice whip, like all of the things that we look on the exterior that would make one desire to be you, but also I think we see the heart. The heart posture is really what got me as well. And so I just want to say, man, thank you for being you.
Yes, sir.
You know
Appreciate
what I'm saying?
it, man.
Like,
Yes,
you
sir.
are amazing.
Actually, that video that you did for me, I had a guy from Australia email me the other day because he saw my most recent YouTube clip, and he's like, I saw on your website you had this DVD, but I'm in Australia. I just want the digital download. So he sent me the money. I sent him the link, so it worked out good. So, yeah.
And it was crazy because me, like, thinking about who I was going to have next and then, like, oh, I should have, you know, Jerome, like, way back. And then for you to hit me, you know what I'm saying, making sure you had that.
Confirmation, man.
It was confirmation, man.
Yep.
Super crazy. But I think the first thing that, you know, I want to do to just establish, like, where you came from, the things you've overcame is, man, tell me a little bit about childhood and then the initial pursuits in business and the obstacles that came with that.
Yes, sir. So I can remember as young as the 2nd grade, for some reason, I don't know why, but something in my head told me we were at, back in the day, how old are you?
I'm 28.
28, yeah, you don't remember Magic Market. So the Magic Market was over there on Alice Drive. It was right across from the Tropical Snow. And anybody knows the Tropical Snow or Magic Market, that was that little corner between Wise Drive and Alice Drive before CVS was there. That was just a grass field. So you had the Tropical Snow there, you had the Magic Market. So when I went to the Magic Market, me and my friends would go there and my brothers would go there and buy candy and stuff. Something inside of me, I don't know why, at a young age told me to buy extra and sell it at school.
Wow.
So I was the candy man. I was at Alice Drive Elementary School.
Yeah.
Had my book bag full of candy.
Yeah.
I would, of course, eat some of the candy, but I try not to get high off my own supply.
Yeah.
So, I had people buying candy from me, Jolly Ranchers, Skittles, you name it.
Yeah.
My book bag was full of candy. End of the day, I had money. So then from there, somehow when I got into, I can't remember what grade I was in, but I learned that if you take aluminum cans, soda cans and stuff like that, or beer cans you find on the side of the road, to the recycling bin, you could get money for them. And I remember I remember at one point I had a couple bags full of cans. I might have had $13. Wow. So as a little kid, $13 seems like I had $1 million. So I was like, man, this is just people just throwing money out the window. So I'm picking up aluminum cans, turning them in. I'm selling candy. And then fast forward, there were these little square-shaped leather shoestrings, and people would put beads on them and make bracelets and cross necklaces and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I started making that. I started doing that. So I've always had the hustler entrepreneurship spirit to me.
Yeah.
And I started doing that through elementary school. And I had a story that I told my mom one day. We were in, I think we were in Roses or Kmart or something like that. And I was always into guns, like toy guns, little cap guns and stuff like that. So there was like this little Uzi, but it was only like $5.99. And I ran down the aisle, I saw it. I said, oh, I know my mom's gonna get me this. So I came over, I said, Mom, you get me this gun? She said, Jerome, we don't have the money. And I'm like, $6? What's she talking about? We don't have the money, you know? Her and my dad go to work every day. Go put it back, we ain't got the money. And it's like, I had already had the little stuff going on when I was younger, but for some reason, I remember it like it was yesterday. Something clicked inside of me and said, man, you're gonna have to make some money because both of your parents work and they can't buy you a $6 toy. It was like game time. And so from there on, I just started hustling, thinking of ways to make money, from washing cars to cutting grass to doing, odd jobs that nobody wanted to do. And then it just fast forward to when I was 16, I started working at Food Line. I started bagging groceries at Food Line.
Okay.
From there, I went from bagging groceries at Food Line to, I worked all the way up to store manager until I was like 25, 26 years old. But along the way, I started doing private security. I started learning martial arts, teaching martial arts.
Yeah.
And I was tinting windows, I was washing cars. So I've always just had a knack for finding something to challenge me. I'm interested in it, and it can make money, and it's legal, and it can make money. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I think I want to go even deeper because there's a certain mental skill set you have to have to even be able to discover and have the awareness to say, hey, there's a deficiency here.
Yep.
Like, we have to go and, whatever, skill stack, we got to go figure out who we can do it with, things of that nature. When did you realize like that your mental acuity and your mental quickness was a little different than those around you?
I can't remember the age, but I would definitely say elementary, middle school, just for the simple fact of I would see, now I still enjoy my childhood, so I would still beat my brothers up. I was still playing. I'm still throwing pine cones at my sister.
Hold up, is that true? Because I know you're watching. Comment below if he did beat you guys up.
So that's just one of those things. As a big brother, you just beat up your little brothers.
Yeah.
My sister was older, but I was always stronger than her, so I would beat her up too. So we still had fun. We played video games. We'd wrestle, fight, do all the kid stuff. But at the same time, I just thought, like, for example, I'll give you an example. My dad, he was at the post office like almost 30 years before he retired. So I would notice maybe on Sundays he would do a week's worth or a couple of days worth, or maybe the first thing in the morning he'd be ironing his clothes. So something inside of me said, well, see if your dad will let you iron his uniforms for the whole week for like $2. It was crazy cheap prices back then. It's like, So I had a list, and I would come up with a list, and I would tell my mom, I'll fold all your clothes and fold the towels for $1. Dad, I'll iron all your uniforms for the week for $3. So I had a little list, and they could check off what they wanted me to do, and they would be like, this boy Jerome is something else. He's a trip.
Yeah.
So it's just, to be honest, it's nothing I just sat back and thought about too long. It just came to me, and then the more I just got involved in doing things where I could make money, it became a challenge to me, and then my brain would just keep taking over. So I know it's not me, it's God. God giving me these ideas.
Sure.
But when they happened, I jumped on it, did it, and then things just kept snowballing. Some people I would notice, they get off work and they'd be happy just to get off work and go home and watch TV. I get off work and I go tint some windows. I'll go wash a couple cars. Like, I always wanted to just keep grinding, keep hustling, keep doing a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? Challenge myself, but at the same time, be compensated for it, you know?
For sure. Who are your role models coming up?
Definitely my dad. My dad worked hard. My dad, he was in the National Guard. He was full-time post office. 4 of us in the house. My other sister grew up in Columbia, so it was 5 of us total. Took care, raised us. Every day he got off work, he was either cutting the grass, working on his truck, taking the vent off the hallway, taking the air conditioning filter out, vacuum it out, clean it out, put it back in, go in the attic. He was always just busy doing stuff. So that was the work ethic of just work. I saw it all the time.
Yeah.
My mom, on the other hand, she was the entrepreneur. She'd be making bath crystals. She'd be making soap. She'd order like 100 curtain rods from a website for cheap and go take them to the flea market and sell it. So I had both of them were my two great role models when it came to work ethic and making money and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Wow.
Hey family, are you in the need for a speaker or host at your next event? If that is the case, I am your guy. For years, I've been blessed to do both of those things at a high level, and I want to help you in your event, whether it be a school, church, or organization, go to the next level. I look forward to hearing from you and partnering with you so that we can all live out our greatness together.
Shout out to your parents. Thank you for displaying what it takes to be successful in this world. And you obviously allowed this young man to get the formula, you know what I'm saying, to be who he is today. Not to fast forward too far.
Yep.
You say you were an individual who started as the grocery bagger, right?
Yep. Bagging groceries at Food Line.
Bagging groceries, and then you transition your way through hard work as a store manager.
So I started out, I was bagging groceries for a couple years. Then I went to night manager. Then I went to grocery manager. Then I went to assistant manager. Then I worked up to store manager. So within my 13 years at Food Line, I started at the entry-level position.
Yeah.
Finished off at the top at like maybe 3-4 different stores total.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And can we say that one of the principles of making sure that you just over deliver in your particular area wherever you are, and then if you do that for a consistent amount of time, you will be rewarded, is something that you apply? Like, was that your mindset going in? Because, I mean, a lot of young individuals may be watching this. They may be working a grocery job right now, and they may be having other aspirations, but they never know it may land them at the managerial position years down the line. So
I can honestly say I didn't go in with the intentions of, man, I'm gonna take over and I'm gonna be a store manager one day.
Yeah.
I was just so excited because, of course, selling candy, making jewelry, washing cars, all those were little side jobs. The thought of going somewhere and somebody paying me an hourly rate and you get paid every 2 weeks, the more hours you work, the more money you make, it was super exciting for me. So I remember when I started out, I was getting like maybe 2 days a week, which is like 8-10 hours a week.
For sure.
And then slowly it kept creeping up. They was like, man, because I was just like, I was trying to do things quick, but at the same time still do a good job.
Yep.
So actually my childhood prepared me for it because I was always coming up with creative ways to do things faster, better, and things of that nature. So from there, I started creeping up 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, 35 hours a week. So I'm still in high school, 35 hours a week. For 2 weeks, you go to get paid, you get a check for $350. You think you done hit the lottery, like you don't have no bills.
Yep.
So it's just spending money at that point. So I'm like, man, this is so when in high school when I had friends playing sports, basketball, football, I would play basketball and football in the yard and we had fun. We'd tackle each other, throw each other in the bushes, I used to think I was Reggie Miller back in the day. All I did was shoot threes. That's it. And my shot used to be wet. It ain't wet no more.
Yeah.
I shoot bricks and air balls now. But back then, it was ugly, but it used to go in. But I knew I'm not going to get a scholarship or get paid to do that. It's just fun. Let me do that at the house. But when it comes to, when I get out of school at 3:30, 5 o'clock, I'm going to work. I'm going to make this money. So,
yeah. And so knowing that money was coming into your hand was the driving force early on. Right? But then as you progressed in the martial arts gifting, there had to be some tension of, okay, I really want to spend time doing martial arts, but now I'm also ascending in, the area of being a Food Line associate. What was that tension like? How did you manage it? I mean, you said your dad and your mom were hard workers. But what did that look like? Was social life non-existent? Or you just locked in?
No, I was locked in on making money, but I was still hanging out, whenever we had the chance to go to football games, go to house parties and stuff like that. I was still having a good time. And back then when I could survive off of 2-3 hours sleep. So it wasn't nothing to work, go party, do whatever. But I do remember at one point, I got promoted from, I think, grocery manager to assistant manager, and the pay jumped up significantly. I went from an hourly to salary. And I went outside and called my dad. I said, Dad, guess what? I got a promotion. Now I'm making, at the time, I think, I was making like 30-something a year, and it shot up to like maybe 40-something a year. And again, at that point, I had my own place, had a car, but still, I didn't have a whole lot of bills, so that's a lot of extra money. It's more hours I got to put in, but at the time, I didn't realize how many hours I was about to be working. So my dad gave me some advice that I remember to this day. He said, Jerome, that's good. I'm proud of you. However, there's nothing like having your own thing. So one of these days, you might find yourself wanting to do something that you really like, even though you're working for Food Line, you enjoy it, but it's not your business.
So what year was that? Paint the picture.
That was probably, I was probably 23, 24.
Okay.
So I had either just made it to assistant manager or store manager. I can't remember. I know assistant manager, I was making like 40 something. And then when I went to store manager, it shot up to like 80 a year. So to be less than 25 years old, making 80 grand a year, I mean, to my friends, I was like P. Diddy. They was like,
nah, for sure.
They would call me J. Diddy. Because at the time, I still have my hair. I know I don't want to be Diddy right now. But I don't want to be Diddy right now, but back then when he was like running Bad Boy, I had the waves, I was making the money, had a nice Acura, like I was doing it. But then corporate America, so what you say about the difference between working your passion and just working a job for money. So I went from working 40 hours a week to 60 hours a week. I'm like, man, I'm always at work. I'm tired. And the stress and aggravation of working something that at one time it was enjoyable. Now it's just stressful because they're always threatening you with, your store better look good. You better make your inventory numbers. You better have your payroll under control. And at the time I was training at the Florence Fight Farm. I would get off work, drive an hour one way to go train in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, hour and a half, 2 hours, drive back another hour, go to sleep, wake up, do it again. So I did the Fight Farm 2 or 3 days a week, but I was working 12, 13-hour days. But regardless of how many hours a day I worked, I would still go train at the Fight Farm. And my mindset was I didn't start doing martial arts till I was 21. So now that I'm 21, 22, 23, getting into the martial arts, I'm like, man, there's people out there who've been doing martial arts since they were 8, 9 years old. So now I have to play catch up. So now in my mind, even when I wasn't going to train at the Fight Farm, I would still be in my garage hitting the bag, stretching, looking up YouTube videos, trying to feel like I needed to catch up to be where I needed to be. Never imagined I would open up my own gym one day, but the passion for martial arts training and training other people took over because eventually I stepped down from a store manager position, stepped down to produce manager, and I went to go work in Columbia. So it was a lot less stress, less hours, and I was able to focus more on my martial arts training until I eventually went full time. So,
man, you took a step back. You took a step back.
I stepped down, voluntary step down, and people couldn't believe it. They said, Jerome, you're crazy. You're making $80,000 a year. Nobody your age making this kind of money. I'm like, y'all, if y'all. So the thing about and I'm going to speak on.
Teach us.
I can only speak on Food Line because I was at Food Line.
Yeah.
So I'm not taking anything away from any other story people have, but I can, or like I was talking to some of my homeboys, and like, man, we were trying to compare who worked harder than who and who did more. I said, y'all, I can promise you, y'all don't work as hard as we do. And I run down the list, like, especially as a store manager, on a typical day, you come in, you got to open up the store 6:30 in the morning. You're there. You might have a truck running late. You got 2 or 3 people arguing that you got to go diffuse that. You still got to do your store walks. You got to make sure your managers are coming to work on time. If they don't come to work on time, the people that work for them, they definitely don't want to work. Somebody got in a car accident. Somebody's sick. Oh, your freezer just shut down. You got a lady and a guy shoplifting over here. You got a guy who just fell and said he's going to sue the store. The truck's at the back door. Nobody's there to unlock the truck. So you're working in the grocery store around food and might have 10 minutes to eat all day. That's how we just running. And I did it for years because I was young and didn't need outside of, hanging out and partying. I didn't need a lot of sleep to recover and come in, so I could handle it. But after a while, I'm like, hold up, this is a rat race. Because no matter how hard I work, no matter how fast I work, Monday morning, it starts all the way over because we had to cut hours to make payroll, which means a lot of things didn't get done. So all that stuff got carried over to the next week. Now you're set behind. Somebody's on vacation, somebody's sick, somebody got hurt, something's out of stock. It's always something that's going to prevent you from being where you need to be. And that would be the time that the district manager for the area would want to pop in your store and walk the store. And you're like, man, my store is tore up. So now he's walking around the store, looking at all the things that don't look good. Now the store is a direct reflection on you, but they don't want to hear any excuses of, well, we had to cut hours, or I had a guy sick, or I had 2 guys on vacation. This guy got hurt. No excuses, 100%. I'm like, okay. I said, and then not only that, so I was mid-20s. Most store managers was in their 40s and 50s. And I had someone pull me to the side. They said, Jerome, don't get caught up in this. They said I've had some tell me we miss seeing our kids grow up. We miss spending time with our grandkids.
Wow.
Because we're always at the store 12, 13 hours a week.
Wow.
You're young. You got time to get out. And at the beginning, when they said that, when I first started out, I said, man, I'm great at time management.
You thought they were hating on you.
Yeah, I can handle it. But after a couple of years in, I'm like, oh, I see what they mean. It's time to go.
Yeah.
So I had to get up out of there, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And you know, I worked the Dollar Tree job in college, and I would see the store managers stress. You know, it's not nearly as big as a Food Line, but I could see the toll that the store was having on her, especially because she kind of confided in me in moments of distress. So, man, I just want to say thank you for your service at Food Line.
Yeah.
And I believe that was a divine setup by our creator. You are here.
Yes, sir.
We are
Yes,
sitting
sir.
inside of the manifestation of a man who was prepared to walk into what he was predestined to be. So I want you to take me through the moment where, boom, you leave Food Line completely, and then you start in the garage.
So at the time, actually, what I was doing, I was, my brother and I, my brother ended up moving to Charlotte now, so he went on to box in Charlotte, and now he trains people up there. But at the time, me and him were doing, because he was doing boxing, I was doing MMA. So we'd had Team Robinson. At the time, I think it was just called Team Robinson Training. So when clients come to the house in our garage, we had our garage set up like a gym, heavy bag, mats, UFC fighters on the wall. So he'd have clients. We'd start as early as 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I would train people 5:30 in the morning, take a shower, get dressed, go to Food Line, work all day, get off work, go to Florence, go train. It was a grueling schedule. We was getting it in. And on top of that, I started getting into security. So now I'm doing security on the weekends. So
I need a security story.
When I got to the point when I couldn't take Food Line anymore and I was going to quit, my district manager taught me into stepping down. So I stepped down, became a produce manager. It was a lot less stress, but I still didn't want to do it. But I did that for a year to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. I quit. And at the time I forgot I was teaching concealed weapons class. So when I quit, I know not enough. My mom always tells me, she's like, you got more hours in a day than anybody that I know. So when I quit Food Line, I spent a year of personal training, martial arts training, still learning myself and teaching other people, doing private security and teaching concealed weapons class. I did those three were my main sources of income for a year. And then a friend of mine told me about a position at the city of Sumter called zoning enforcement officer, which at the time I heard nothing about. I didn't know how it worked. I read the job description. And one of the things they put might have to deal with hostile people as it relates to regulations and rules when it comes to signs permit, business license, and things of that nature. I'm like, if I can deal with dudes at the club, drunk at the club, I can handle people getting upset about a business license. There's no problem. So I went in, I interviewed for it. At the time, I think I just recently got earned my black belt. So the guy who interviewed me, he was more impressed with my black belt martial arts training than he was with anything else I had going on the resume. When he got to that line, he started asking me a bunch of stuff about the martial arts training. He saw I had some college, but I knew college wasn't for me, so I never finished. And so he asked me, was I ever coming back? And I said, I'm considering it. I knew I wasn't, but I didn't want to make it seem like I was completely against college because I could tell he was definitely for it. But anyway, fast forward, he called me back later on that day. He offered me the job. So for the next 6 years, I was a zoning enforcement officer for the city of Sumter. I was employed by the city of Sumter, but I drove a county car because I had jurisdiction over city and county when it came to rules and regulations for business license, banners, permits, different things that a lot of stuff I didn't even know existed. I learned in 6 years of doing zoning enforcement. So now I have 13 years experience at Food Line, 5 of those years in management to know how to work payroll, work the numbers and do all that stuff. Then I had my martial arts, private security, concealed weapons classes going on. Now I have 6 years under my belt of learning the local government rules and regulations as it relates to sign permits, business license, what you can do with a certain parcel of land, zoning requirements, things of that nature. So now all that stuff, it's like I have all that stuff under my umbrella. So one day, and at the time when I was doing the zoning enforcement, I'd work 9 to 5, get off at 5. I had my gym on Pike at the time. Get off work at 5. My class started at 5:30. I go 5:30 to 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, teaching martial arts, go home, unwind for a couple hours, wake up, do it all again. So I did that Monday through Friday. So Friday night, Saturday night, I'm doing armed security at the clubs. Sometimes Sunday. So now you talking about 2 jobs during the week, 1 job on the weekend. I did that for 6 years. So one day I'm sitting in my office and I'm just like, I done drank a cup of coffee. It didn't even faze me. I was still tired. I'm like, man, I can't do this no more. I gotta go. I gotta get up out of here. So I went to my boss at the time and I said, George, man, I gotta go. He's like, where you going? I said, it's been real, but I said, I'm ready to pursue martial arts full time. What would bother me is when I would go down Pike on the way to work and I would drive by the gym, I would see one of my coaches, Desmond, and some of my clients at the gym working out in the morning. And I'm jealous because I want to be at the gym training and working out, not going to this job. The job was cool, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my passion.
For sure.
So seeing that, and I made it the point, because I could have went to work a different way. I made it the point to drive there to remind myself that's what you want to be. You don't want to be doing this job. You want to be doing that.
Come on.
So once I got to the point, I told him, I had to go. He said, well, can you give me a 2 weeks notice? I said,
nah, brother.
I said, I'll give you a week.
Right now.
I said, I'll give you a week. That's all I could do. I knew I was done. I gave him a week.
That was generous.
Because actually, I was ready to take my badge, my name, my keys for the car. I had a phone, an office, a car. It was a dope job, man. It was a lot of freedom. I come in for 30 minutes every morning, get my reports, get my complaints, and I would just take off. I'd be 1 minute I'm in Broad Street, 1 minute I'm in Rembert. I'm all over town handling violations and stuff like that. But I knew even with the freedom that I had from that job and not being as strict as some other jobs, and I wasn't in management, it was just me. I had nobody under me. So to me, it felt like a part-time job compared to working at Food Line, but I still needed my full attention and hours to be able to focus on the gym. So I had to make that leap of faith. So
and let's remove the cloud that I think a lot of people may be having when it comes to I want to do my passion, right? Your passion was something that you committed to.
Yep.
Day in, day out, no matter the hours, no matter how you were feeling. What can you say to those that are partially in, and 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but they claim that it is their passion?
So I've seen and heard people, and I know now, especially with social media, everybody's like, do what you love, work your passion, and things of that nature. I've seen people who say they're passionate about what they do, but their actions don't show it.
Come on.
Because if someone's truly passionate about changing their diet or working out or opening a business or whatever, they're going to do any and everything they can to be successful at that business. Which means, to be honest with you, thinking back, I can honestly say I don't remember watching any TV at all for like 6 years. I never been. I used to play Sega Genesis back in the day. That's my level of playing a game console.
Yeah.
So there was no TV. Of course, we would hang out every now and then. But as far as just go home and say watch my favorite show it was just like it was the city of Sumter. It was security. It was martial arts training. Repeat. And it's not like I was making a ton of money because you got to keep in mind I was already used to making $80,000 a year at Food Line. All my bills are taken care of, and then some. Now I'm making $30,000 at the city, $32,000 at the city.
Oh, man.
I might be making $10,000 a year doing security. I got to make up the difference. So now I'm not living. I still have the same house, same car, and stuff, but the income is not the same. So now you got to be creative. You got to cut back. You can't live the way you used to. Yeah, let's go on a cruise, man. I'm good. Nah, it ain't. I had to get it. You know what I'm saying? This was 7 days a week for 6 years to maintain. To get to the point to where one day when I took the leap of faith and started running the gym, even then I still wasn't making what I was making.
Did you have the 6 months that they recommend you had before you quit?
I wish, man. That sounds good.
What did you have?
6 months worth of income. I had whatever I had. I'll say a week's worth.
So if you could kind of estimate, how much money kind of did you have?
I probably had that I could put my hands on if I needed to liquid at the time, maybe $1,000. I didn't have no.
Wow.
I know they always say.
And mortgage was coming up.
Oh yeah. There's been times I had a nice gold chain I didn't want to sell. I had to sell that to make sure the bills were paid. Like whatever sacrifice I knew. Food Line taught me a lesson. Food Line taught me how to work from the bottom to the top. But once I got to the top, realized that there's more to it, and I told myself when I left Food Line, because I was so stressed, I had to go to the doctor. I was getting EKGs, heart monitors,
Wow.
headaches. I felt like my brain was like having zapping headaches. I'll go to the gas pump, take the gas off, put it in the car, sit there for 10 minutes, take it off, get down the road, and like I didn't even pump gas. Like it was just sitting there. You know what I'm saying? I'd be going places. I'd be at the cash register to pay for something, put the debit card in, stare at the lady, she's looking at me. I'll pull the card out, and I'll go to leave. Sir, you didn't pay for, I didn't put my number in. Like my brain was gone. I'm like, I'm too young for this, you know what I'm saying? And I was already stressed out because I was losing my hair. Now I'm going bald.
So that's why you went bald.
Yeah, I'm stressed. Then I'm like, so I'm driving down the street one day,
Oh my
and I'm looking at the signs on Broad Street, and I'm like, why does everything look blurry? I'm looking, I go to lens craft, oh yeah, you definitely need glasses. I'm like, I'm bald. Now I'm wearing glasses. I said, man, Food Line I can't take it no more, man. Shout out to Food Line. Y'all gave me the start. I love Food Line, but I couldn't do it no more. I had to get up out of there.
Oh my goodness, you got me crying, man.
Man, that was a stressful time for me, man. That was a transition for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gathering myself. You are an incredible storyteller, man.
Yeah, man.
Man.
Life was real, baby.
Oh, man. So you scale back.
Yep.
And then you leave with $1,000 to your name.
Yep.
And you said you literally do whatever.
So I said, I will sleep in my gym. I will stay at a homeboy's house. I would do whatever it took not to have to go back to, not necessarily Food Line, but any stressful job, 60, 70 hours a week, even though the money was good, but you're not happy. You're just working. At that point, you was in the rat race, working to pay bills. I said, I don't have any kids, so I have the ability to, if I had to scale my life down to sleeping in a closet, I would to make the martial arts thing work out, because that's what I love to do. And at the time, I wasn't making a whole lot of money doing martial arts training, but you know.
So how long did it take you to actually get going? And did you have to scale back tremendously before it started to get going?
From when I left the city?
Yeah, you left the city.
Yeah, so by the time I left the city, actually I didn't have to scale back too much because now I had so much more free time. Because this is, other than that year of me working for myself with the security, CWP, I have a lot more clients now. So I was able to do personal training client sessions during the daytime, classes at night, go out and teach seminars. So I had more time available, so I didn't have to scale back. The biggest point I had to scale back when I went from store manager to produce manager. That was like a big, from 80,000 a year to 30-something thousand a year, that was a big cutback for me. But after that, I was able to just pretty much maintain. So
for sure. And what I hear is just an individual in yourself who consistently, no matter the hours you had to put in your 9 to 5, added value to yourself. Like not only monetarily, but the knowledge, the skills, like the commitment to the craft, the resilience mindset, like like if you can tell me like when you felt, you know, as you were going on your own, that you were really a high level trainer. When did you say, man, like I'm amazing at the craft now? Like,
gotcha. I would say, shout out to my brother again. My brother is very critical of everything in a good way, because it allows you to be better, because especially with him being a boxer, I learned a lot of my boxing techniques from him. So when he would go to the gym and come home and teach me the combinations, because when I used to see, for example, when I was watching Mayweather hit the mitts with his uncle Roger Mayweather, and they were just all over the place, I'm just in amazement, like, yo, I would love to be able to do something like that. So then when I was able to work the mitts and my brother would teach me the combinations, I was able to hold them in the garage, I felt more and more comfortable with it, to the point where I could train people and, you know, build up the confidence. And then somebody stand in front of me left-handed, like, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
I got to change my stance. Now this isn't the one, this is the one, and I got to learn all those combinations. So I got good at doing that. But I think the point that it really, people were telling me I was a good trainer, and I would have people come to the house, you know, pay me to train them, and I felt confident enough to train people. But the point that it really, really hit me is when I got flown out to one of my fighters I was training at the time. He had a fight coming up on ESPN, Friday Night Fights.
Wow.
And I had to fly to Brooklyn to train him, to finish training him for a couple days. And then we were going to go to the venue, and he was going to fight on Friday Night Fights live.
Wow.
And that was my first time ever working a corner.
Wow.
So a lot of times people will work a corner in an amateur fight or MMA fight or something. My first time ever working a corner is a pro boxing match with this fighter that I've been training for the past year,
yes,
and we
man.
end up winning.
Wow.
So
wow.
it's like, so another
Wow.
thing that was crazy was when we were at the hotel, 2 days prior to that, we did some sparring. No, I'm sorry, that was a different time we went there. We didn't spar before that one. We were training. He still had to cut weight, so we found a sauna, help him cut weight. We were in the hotel, hit the mitts and things like that. At the hotel, maybe 4 or 5 hours before we had to head to the venue, I was so nervous. My body was shaking. My heart was racing. I was like, oh man, I'm about to be on live TV. What if my man gets knocked out in the first round? You know what I'm saying? I'm over there with the smelling salt trying to wake him up. I could just picture everything going wrong. It was it almost felt, if I was so nervous, it felt like I've never even done it before. Like I was doing something, I was going to like a fishing competition or something. It was something like completely out of my element. So I was a nervous wreck. And then I knew a lot of people from the gym, they were going to Applebee's that night to watch it. So now I got the home team 30 deep watching it. So at the hotel, even driving to the venue, I'm like, oh God, please just let them win. Just, oh God, I'm praying, I'm nervous.
Yep.
The second I walk into the venue, this is when it really hit me. The second I walk into the venue, it felt like I was walking into the gym. Like all the nerves and jitters and everything went away. And I was just like, game time, let's go. It's time to eat, baby. It was like if you would have asked me an hour before, I would have been in the corner shaking. But when I got to that venue and I could just, they had the foggers. Mm-hmm. I could smell that. I could see people were drinking, having a good time. The music was pumping and everything.
Yep.
I said, yeah, it's time to get to work now. So I felt a lot more confident. I had to wrap his hands in front of the New York Athletic Commission. So it's not a regular wrap. You have to actually use tape and gauze and make sure the tape doesn't come an inch past the knuckles, and they have to inspect it. So they're standing over your shoulder while you're doing it. So that's some anxiety in itself. And I was able to get through that, get them warmed up. And we went out there and we won unanimous decision. So at that point, that transition from walking into the venue, going through the whole process to prep the fight to him fighting and winning, I was just like, okay, I think I'm pretty good at this. I'm him, as Dion said. I'm him.
I'm him, baby.
I'm him. Let's go.
I'm him. And you are him. And with you being him, you're now in a 7,000 square foot
Yes, sir.
home of your own, gym for pretty much all ages.
Yep.
You know, all genders, and you're doing the dang thing. You know what I'm saying? But I want to get really specific really quick because I really want the ladies that are watching this to feel love too. And so what would you say for the single ladies who maybe are staying alone, right? They're going to their cars alone, the safety issues that are around just being by yourself. What is some advice you can give our single ladies that are watching right now?
I would tell the ladies most definitely, if there isn't, so the biggest thing it starts with is, because we live in an age of technology and social media, the biggest thing I see it all the time, is social media, because a female will put, even though the same thing a male could get attacked too, but we're talking about the females right now.
Yep.
They'll go on Facebook and say, I'm so bored, I'm at home alone, I don't have nobody here to watch a movie with, it's just me and my baby, I wish I could just blah, blah, blah. So now they're telling you they're home by themselves. Then another thing, for someone who isn't single, but their spouse might be deployed or going on a trip, they're taking pictures at the airport. I'm gonna miss you, baby. He's gonna be gone for 6 months. I don't know what I'm gonna do without him. So now the would-be creeps and all these guys out there meant to do harm, he's just making, okay, husband out of town 6 months. She's lonely on Friday nights. I just need to find out where she stays at. And social media, they can pretty much track it down. Another thing I tell people when it comes to being in your vehicle, so many people are distracted. They're walking to the vehicle, the car's not unlocked yet, their phone's in their hand, the keys in their hand. They're trying to hold the baby, they got the grocery bag. So they have a lot of distractions, so they're not being aware of their surroundings. They get into the vehicle doesn't have tinted windows, so now as they're driving down the road, the guy that's been watching them for the past couple of days, he can just pull right up beside you, look at you, it's her and her baby. Day 3, it's her and her baby. Day 4, it's just her. There's no man around. Where did she stay? I saw her make that right and that left. She must stay at that apartment complex up there. He goes to her social media. So now sometimes an attack can just happen because someone sees an opportunity and they just go. Then you have some other people out there who will stalk you and look for an opening. So the suggestion and tips I give people is stop posting your location on social media. If you go on a trip or vacation, wait till you get back to post the pictures. Don't tell people you're home alone by yourself. When you're home, I always suggest they sell them on Amazon for like 20 to 30 bucks a piece. But it's a door brace. You take it, it has the little rubber fork that goes right on the knob and it braces right up against the door. You can put that under the door. Can someone still kick in the door? Yes, but it's going to take them a little bit longer. And hopefully by the time you hear that kicking and kicking and kicking and finally get it off, that'll give you some time to actually prep, whether you're getting a firearm or whether you're going down another exit, whatever the case may be. I suggest for people to have a Kubotan. Kubotan is just a small keychain about this long that goes on your keychain. You have some with a rounded tip. You have some with a sharp tip to it. If you're walking out to your car late at night, somebody comes and approaches you, your keys are already in your hand. You can bring it up. You saw the DVD. Me and my wife demonstrated on the DVD where she was actually doing the technique, keeping me back and then striking with that mace. Years of doing security, mace OC spray is highly effective. If you spray it in someone's, I've had people that I've tased and it not affect them, and I had to fight them because the taser didn't work. But the OC spray, I've yet to see anybody. It's undefeated.
Yeah,
especially when I carry.
Yeah.
It's undefeated. I think I got the one Charleston White used. It's undefeated, man. I'll put them down, man. But again, if you have a game plan in your mind of, I'm not going to post my location on social media. I'm not going to tell everybody I'm lonely for the creep out there to be able to start stalking me, having a plan in place when it comes to some type of, we call them impact tools. So a lot of times people stay away from the word weapons because in a court of law, a weapon is something that used to hurt somebody else. I always tell my clients, weapons are made to be felt, not seen.
Come on.
So if I have a weapon and I show you the weapon, you can react to it. But if you don't see it and all of a sudden you feel the weapon, then I'm using it as my benefit, but I'm using it as a tool.
Come on.
No different than me using a tool to fix something. This is a tool to protect myself.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have felt the pain from my tool had you not attacked me. So now in a court of law, I can legally articulate and defend myself because I was minding my business. But these are tools that I keep with me for my protection because I'm responsible for my protection.
For sure.
I tell people I love law enforcement. As a security officer, me and law enforcement work neck and neck. However, law enforcement has a huge job. You call 911, you might be waiting 20 minutes, you might wait 30 minutes, you might wait 45 minutes.
Wow.
So who's responsible for your protection? You are. And if you have kids, you're responsible for their protection. So
wow.
That's just some tips that I give people. But a lot of times, again, it starts with the social media. It starts with when walking to your car or being in a crowded area that you're sitting with your back to the wall where you can see who's coming in and out the door, being aware of your surroundings, and stay off them phones. Stay off them phones until you're in a safe spot to comfortably scroll on your phone, not out in public, because people are so distracted nowadays, it just makes it easy, especially with all the human trafficking and stuff going on like that. You want to make yourself a hard target. If someone, you have to trust your gut. Someone makes you feel uncomfortable, instead of making yourself look like a victim by kind of cowering down and trying look at them.
Yeah.
Because if someone's going to do something to you, it's not foolproof. They still might come do something, but if they see that you're looking at them and you're getting the description of them, excuse me, sir, can I help you? Could you please back up? You could be on the phone with your homegirl. Act like it's your husband.
Yeah.
My husband, he's right outside. He's about to come in right now. Like you could do different things. My brother and I just went to Atlanta recently, and we were doing over some self-defense scenarios. Like I was standing in an elevator, and he was about to get on the elevator, and I had him recording me, and I kind of backed up a little bit, and I said, "Oh, well, you scared, man? Get on the elevator. You straight?" Like we were doing like a scenario, what to do if you don't want to feel comfortable getting on the elevator. Instead of saying, "Oh, I'm just going to wait on the next one," and letting the person know that you don't want to get on because now I left my room key. You can go down. I'll go get it. Certain things that you could do to where people don't realize, they might not feel so offended and might not want to retaliate. But at the same time, if you get that gut feeling and something doesn't feel right, trust it, you know what I'm saying? And try to be as safe as possible. So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of game. You know what I'm saying? Please take heed accordingly, because we do not want to see you show up on that disappearing list. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all. That list gets bigger and bigger every day.
It gets huge, man. And I have a daughter, so you know, I'm gonna play this back for her years down the line.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So, but to the men,
Yep.
you know, the man of the house, the protector of the house. What is some advice you would give? I mean, it could be a little similar, but you might have some specific things that you would advise a man to have? You know what I'm saying? What are the necessary resources every man should have in his home? Resources he should have in his car? Like, what does he need to be a successful protector?
Protector of the house.
Yes.
My brother and I laugh about this all the time, so I'm gonna look at this camera and say it. Fellas, most of y'all out there don't know how to fight. I'm just gonna say it like that. So I say that, and the reason I'm laughing is because a lot of times I'll get a phone call from a guy, he'll be like, yo, you teach boxing and martial arts? Yes, sir. How can I help you? Yeah, I done been in like a bunch of street fights. I'm undefeated, but I want to come down there and sharpen up my such and such, such and such. So the thing with us guys, we have to take our ego out of it, because when a woman comes in and I train a woman or a young lady, I even have a little girl that's 2 years old doing my class, and she can keep up with the 4 or 5 year olds. It's amazing.
Hold on, you earliest 2?
I started at 4, but I got one little girl.
Okay.
Legacy, she's 2, and she is a little beast, man. She keeps up, she ducks, she punches, everything. But anyway, fellas, listen up. Be coachable. Take your ego out of it. Because even as a 6th-degree black belt, when I go to learn from somebody else, I just recently went to Atlanta, trained with Andre Durrell, former world boxing champion. I humbled myself. Yes, sir. Hands up. What do you want me to do, sir? Yes, sir. I didn't say, oh, yeah, I know how to do that. Yeah, I know. No. Humble yourself. Learn from others. Because a lot of times as guys, if anyone's had an adrenaline rush, they know the feeling of getting mad, shaking, your heart racing, you feel stronger. And guys just think when they blank out, they're just going to be able to turn gorilla and just handle everything. But you'll see so many times, whether you're watching a fight on YouTube or World Star, you'll see someone who's trained who gets in a fight stance versus the dude that's just mad and just swinging and he's looking crazy. Because now he's swinging so hard, he's falling all over the place, not doing nothing, and the trained guy just
beating them apart,
just piecing them up.
Yep.
So another advantage about training, whether it's boxing or martial arts or any other discipline where you can actually defend yourself, it gives you the confidence to not feel like you always have to fight. Because a lot of times if someone's ego is damaged or someone gets upset or they get emotional, they feel like they have to react. So there's been several times, not so much outside of work, because I don't bother nobody and not, keep my head on the swivel and all that. Plenty of times doing security, dudes would be challenging me in the parking lot. Boy, if you ain't had that gun and badge on me, I'll wear you out in this parking lot. I blank, all that. I'm like, so of course the crowd's like,
what you gonna do?
What you gonna do? Yeah. I'm looking. Sounds good, brother. Have a good night. Y'all be safe. Just, if you would, please just step off. There's no need for me to feel like I got to challenge him. You don't know who I am? You don't know I teach martial arts, man? There's no need for that, because I always tell people, as long as you're not in my personal space and actually touch me, you can say whatever you want. There's been so many people who are so-called gangsters, so-called tough. They're in the graveyard right now. Or they're locked up because they let their emotions get the best of them.
Come on.
And self-defense, where I have to take someone down, restrain them, is different than sitting on somebody's chest, punching them in the face for 30 seconds. So now, if you get into a situation to where you've blacked out and you have used excessive force, now the legal ramifications behind you doing too much, you're doing the most, are going to get you in trouble. Now you got to get a lawyer, you got to get bonded out of jail. You might have something go on your record. So there's so many things that could come with that. So I always tell people, try your best to stay away from those situations. If it happens, it happens. But back to your question. When it comes to the fellas, humble yourself, learn how to fight, learn the difference between a jab and a cross, learn the proper way to block. A lot of times when I have somebody get in their fight stance and I tell them to block and I'll slowly swing towards their head, they'll do this. All right? And they're giving them everything. All right? Now, your natural instinct, car accident, basketball coming at you, a golf ball, that's your natural instinct to get your hands up because you want to protect your vital organs, your face, your eyeballs, your throat, your nose, your throat. That's your natural instinct. In an actual fight, someone starts getting off on you and you do this, you're giving them the opening. You want to be in a position where you can adequately defend yourself. Not only that, you have to possibly defend yourself from other people. So you want to be able to keep your head on a swivel, learn how to throw your hands properly when it comes to impact tools, whether it's a firearm, make sure you train with someone who knows what they're doing with firearms when it comes to firearm safety. If you walk into a firearms class, the instructor has a dummy gun or a real gun, and he says the gun is empty, and he's talking to you, and he's pointing the gun as he's talking, you need to get a refund and get out of there because the muzzle needs to point in a safe direction or in a direction that is going to destroy, not towards you when it comes to handling firearms. When it comes to edge weapons, whether it's a knife, whether it's a broken beer bottle, knowing how to properly strike, because the last thing you want to do is use a knife, use a stick, use a gun, use mace, have them take that away from you, and now they use it on you.
Come on.
So again, weapons are made to be felt, not seen. If I'm showing my weapon, there's a good chance he could take the weapon. So I'd rather somebody feel the weapon versus see the weapon and take the weapon. But for the fellows out there, I know a great gym in Sumter, South Carolina, Team Robinson MMA will get you right. Boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, defensive tactics, firearms training, we got all that. We'll get you right. You want to be the protector. Most fellas out there, I would say, the ones that are honest and work hard, they provide, but you also want to be the protector. I always give this example. Mm-hmm. You're laying on the couch watching a movie, you hear the glass break, you hear something slam up against the house. Fellas, oh, baby, you'll go check that out? No, that's your job. Get up and go, but you got to have a game plan. What you going to do? If you just as scared as her, and there's nothing wrong with being scared. There's nothing wrong with being scared, but you still got to have a plan. Whether it's a knife, whether it's a bat, whether it's mace, whether it's a gun, you want to have a plan. But if both of y'all just sitting there calling 911, just shaking, then she probably going to dump you.
So hold up. If I hear something transpire outside of my house, somebody's trying to break in. Somebody's breaking glass, this and the third, I'm supposed to go search it out.
Not necessarily, no. Not necessarily.
Okay.
Now, I would say, let's say, for example, there's different scenarios. So let's say it's you and your wife at the house and your daughter's with the grandparents. Okay. So it's just y'all two. Your initial responsibility is right there beside you. So there's no need to go out and seek.
But if baby girl's downstairs.
You're upstairs, you don't know where your daughter's at. Let's say you got a couple of family members over, it's 5 or 6 people. You need to find out what that threat is as quick as possible. And you need to know where all your family members are. So you have to make a decision, well, what am I going to do first? Do I try to round everybody up or do I go address the threat? So I always tell people, what's that?
I'm going to get baby girl.
Exactly.
The rest of y'all, no offense.
You on your own, right?
You better protect yourself.
So I give people this example when it comes to somebody breaking in your home. If you're in your bedroom and you don't have anybody else in the house you're responsible for, the best thing to do is get your firearm, get your flashlight, get in the corner, get in the closet, call 911, and just wait.
Don't go on the ground under the bed. Shoot the leg, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Well, the thing is,
Go on.
The thing is, for me, like I already have a designated spot. Like if something happens, this is where we're gonna go, and I want to be in a situation.
Ain't nobody messing with this.
Listen,
man.
They might not know him now. They might not know, but they might not know him better. So the thing is, underneath the bed is a good hiding spot, but I want to be able to see what's going on. So I'm gonna get in the corner to where now my line of sight is here. If somebody comes to that door, let the police know, hey, when y'all get there, please announce yourself. I think somebody's still in the house. However, it's different if I have family members in the house. So now I need to go out and make sure they're protected. So I might need to go out there and address the threat. Again, goes back to the advice that I had before. Put that door brace on the door, having a good alarm system. If you have an alarm system with camera, everybody got their phone.
Who is it?
I'm looking on that camera, you know what I'm saying? So now it's not so much as a guessing game. Years ago when you just set the alarm system and if it starts going off, you know something's going on. You can start looking at them cameras and seeing what's going on. But again, if you don't think about it, if you don't practice it, you're just gonna be all over the place. So you wanna have a plan in place for when you're there by yourself, have a plan in place when you're there with multiple people, and not just having a plan, but actually do scenarios. So the security company that I work for, KDI, we do a lot of scenario-based training, whether it's active shooter, whether it's somebody breaking in the house. So people's house, their car, their place of business, you're gonna have so many different things that could change the scenario. So the more you train, the easier it should make it in the event something does happen. You know what I'm saying?
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
If special ops or a private unknown security entity reached out to you, offered you a large amount of capital to go and be a sharp tool, as you would say, for their, service, would you do it?
Yeah, as long as the schedule was limited where I could be here. You mean just like full time?
Not full time.
Oh.
But it's the high risk, but
Yeah.
high reward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for instance,
Yeah.
right? You know, a special ops group, you know, unknown Black Cobra type of entity reached out. Hey, Jerome Robinson, we see your work. We see how many people you saved, this, that, and the third. We want to offer you $3 million for this said job, but you know, the risk of you know, losing your life may be a 58% chance. Would you take the risk and go and get that back? Are you willing to risk your life for the client?
I felt this one deep in my soul, deep beneath the surface, serpent peeking through some holes. Shot me with a gram of dopamine to make me slow. What type you ask? I fell a victim.